22nd of Harvester, 233, second era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. The sandstorm is brutal today. I can hear the grains breaking away from the flock and ticking against the sandstone walls of my home. It seems no matter how strong we are, how hard our magicians work, how well enchanted their rings, there will always be a piece of sand out of place, driving towards an end all its own. Perhaps I only notice this because I can relate to the individual sin of that grain of sand, the nerve to break away from its legions to follow its own destiny. Perhaps I only notice it because it's interrupting my work. I left home 12 years ago. I left Archidon, and wandered south to escape persecution for my magic. I had intended to only learn here for a few years, then find solitude in the mountains. However, I believe I have found my calling here. The people of Tai'Ida are not only wise, but logical. To keep a city, such as the one I call my home, functioning, workers are needed. So even in death their people are supporting the weight of their society. I would never have found an interest in necromancy if not for the people of Tai'Ida showing me its virtues. I had always wanted to be some wandering peller or druid, using my gifts to heal. I suppose now I still do. Tomorrow I will raise more dead to build the walls, to aid in protecting caravans and kings. Maybe tomorrow I will try my new formula. We will see. "23rd of Harvester, 233, second era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. I find myself stuck within my own mind today. Thoughts of home. I miss the rain on my face, the cold snow dancing over the evergreen and maple trees. However, there is work to be done, and this is where I belong. I spent the morning doing what I do best. I spoke to the spirits of the dead. No language, no words needed. Only our spirits speaking in the ether of magic. I asked who wished to arise, and of course, I received a list of names of those willing to serve. My new draft raised the first 6 corpses with ease, once I had stitched up their failing and firm flesh. I stopped to contemplate the dark nature of this work, realizing quickly that that perspective is only my own, because I was raised in the East. Necromancy, like all magic that allows you control over other living things, is only dark magic if you do it without consent, without thought. I am no more evil than one who asks the birds to watch their home, or a mage who has befriended a tree in their garden. I am simply an employer. The dead wish to aid their people, and I suppose there's no sin in that. Still, today I prayed. I prayed for my soul as I watched the dead. I watched as they rose to their feet, lifted their hammers or their buckets of water, put on the steel masks they wore in life, and began to work. My own culture should have little bearing on my own self-image here. Not only is my magic seen as a gift, those I raise from the dead are able to see their families again. They get to construct homes that may one day be their children's, or their grandchildren's. Still my mother's voice echoes in my mind. Be still, Awen. You allow the darkness too close. "24th of Harvester, 233, second era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. Today I sat on a bench in our tiny oasis and watched my risen work. Though undead, they are not the shambling monsters I would hear of back home. They are just as skilled craftsmen now as they were in life, using their tools with grace and skill as they formed bricks and built homes. A woman thanked me for my work. She told me one of my risen was her son. She seemed delighted. His paling, stiffened flesh didn't bother her as she rested her hand on his cheek and went about her daily errands. I asked one of the risen if he would hand me my bag, as I left it a few steps away, and I winced. I felt ashamed. Something in me felt monstrous for commanding him, until I realized I didn't. I simply asked. I can command them. I know the spell. I haven't used it in years. I drank my draught to speak to the risen, and then my draught to hear them speak, and we talked. I am not some foul necromantic ghoul, raising an army, commanding them to slaughter and serve. I raise those who ask to build homes, tend gardens, stand guard, fight wars. Perhaps I am just preventing waste. No corpses baking in the desert sand. Those who do not wish to rise again are burned, as is the custom in most of the Etrides desert. They wish to serve. They offer services. No damnation comes for me, and no mage breaker from my homeland can touch me here. I am doing a good thing. Perhaps I should speak to one of the elder necromancers. My master, Sisit, passed away years ago. Now he tends to the books and scrolls of the university library. Perhaps I shall find someone with an understanding of the history of Ta'ida's risen. Maybe understanding the culture, the power I hold, would do me some good. "25th of Avesta, 233, Second Era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. I went to the university today. A teacher of histories was more than willing to offer me some insight. His name is Gandis. He was very kind. An elf, I think. I wish I could see his face, but this is the Masked Empire. He wears a brass mask with these beautiful spiraling patterns on it. Had we not been talking about corpses, I might have asked him if he wanted to come over to mine for tea. The sandstorm cleared up as we spoke, so I could see the desert for hundreds of long steps around, and that brought a warmth to my core that I haven't felt in a long time. I watched the sand dancers sit for the first time all day, my mind wandering on how difficult their job must be, holding back the most brutal and endless storm of stone and wind, and yet they do it in a dance, with grace. Gandis quickly regained my attention. He told me that our capital was once a ruin, an ancient stronghold left abandoned during a great war. Our first king came here alone to escape the sandstorms, and found only bones and shadows. He meditated for 30 days and 30 nights within the keep, attempting to settle his mind. His willpower was heard by the spirits and the ghosts of all who had died here. They were moved by the young man's commitment to survival, and willed their own bones to rise up. As he meditated, they rebuilt the castle around him. They hunted beasts for him to eat when he awoke. The dead aren't risen as a slave army, but an ancestor doing their part to make the world a brighter place for their own children. Death is not the end here. It is an opportunity to serve those you love tirelessly. This made me feel better. 26th of Harvester, 233, second era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. The city was attacked by a Lujaroi today. It was the first time I had ever seen one, and I'm surprised at how much they look like rhinoceros beetles. The creature used its massive horn to tear down houses, and many people died. I was scared. I have never used battle magic, so I hid in the marketplace. I heard its heavy, skittering steps approach, and the splintering of wood. It swung that horn down with intent to kill me, however I was unharmed. About I turned to see one of my risen holding a spear. Her tireless body held the spear high to block the strike. I could hear the wooden weapon breaking as her dead eyes turned to me and nodded for me to flee. She and the rest of the risen killed the beast within minutes, only suffering minor damage. They were easy enough to put back together. I was certain I had commanded her, forcing her to protect me. However, I had no magical energy in that moment. She chose to protect me. She recognized me. Perhaps I'd been foolish. If my magic is truly consensual, the dead requesting the right to rise and defend their families, then to deny them that right due to my own northeastern morals would be cruel, I suppose. We rebuilt for the rest of the day. Frankly, it went fast. As the risen do not get tired, they do not get hungry, and they were more than eager to fix the damage caused by the Lujaroi. "27th of Harvester, 233. Second era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. I finally began decorating my home, no longer just a bed and a table. I allow my work bottles to sit out. The draughts I use to raise the dead proudly on display. Gandis brought me a tapestry his mother wove, depicting the first Ta'idan king meditating to build the great city. I invited him to stay for dinner. He invited his mother. I was surprised to find she was a risen, but her cooking was incredible. Dead or not, I can imagine her ability to make food is coveted in the king's castle. Gandis removed his mask to eat, and by the heavens and the gods, he is the most beautiful man I have ever seen. Dark skin and eyes that shine like the desert sun. I think I will marry him one day. Pretend I didn't write that. I have no idea if he even likes men, let alone me. He asked why I don't have my own mask. I said I thought they were only for people born here. He shook his head and told me that they're actually for people who intend to die here. The mask is a face you can wear for the rest of your life. Even in death it is preserved to keep one's image intact. I told him I wasn't sure I wished to die here. I crave my homeland. He asked what my homeland ever did for me, and I didn't have a good answer. His mother made lamb stew with various vegetables. I think Gandis brought them from home. I'm not sure when I ate a home-cooked meal last. He told me he would present me with a mask by the end of the season. I might present him with a ring before that. I should stop writing and go to sleep. "12th of Dissest, 233, second era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. Well, he did it. While I've been honing my skills, making drafts that can make a risen last longer and amplify their strength, he has been working with someone at the college to make me a mask. I was stitching a risen's flesh together as it had torn, while carving a statue in honor of the seneschal's daughter, when Gandis rushed into my home and presented it to me with all the gallantry of a noble knight. I felt awkward accepting the gift while standing over a corpse. Clearly the Risen did as well, as they put on their own mask and walked outside. I suppose commanding necromancers don't have to deal with that judgy dead people. The mask is beautiful. He had it made with symbols of the Archidonian Saint Dermot, the Saint of Purpose. It's silver, lightweight. So I kissed him, threw my arms around him and just did it, like a fool, like an absolute bumbling fool. I think he kissed back. I hope he kissed back, because it was the best kiss I've had in my entire life, and it would feel really morally questionable if he actually had not kissed me back. I think I'm in love with him. I think I've always been in love with him. The man who raises the dead has a beating heart after all, I suppose. Eighth of Gautha, 238. Second era of the Age of Song, Kingdom of Tai'Ida. The sandstorm is brutal today. I hear the grains breaking away from the flock and ticking against the sandstone walls of my home. It seems no matter how strong we are, how hard our magicians work, how well enchanted their rings, there will always be a piece of sand out of place, driving towards an end all its own. Perhaps I only notice this because I can relate to the individual sin of that grain of sand, the nerve to approach my own destiny unsure and uncertain. Perhaps I only notice it because it keeps waking my husband up, and he has to get good sleep before his lecture in an hour. I left home 13 years ago. I left my home in Archidon, and started wandering south, to find a loving husband, fulfilling work. I intended to only learn here a few years. However, I am proud of my life here. I used to worry about the ethics of my magic, raising the dead to serve the common good. However, in getting to know my husband's mother, speaking to her spirit, hearing her ghost speak, I've learned a great deal. There are, of course, monstrous ways to be a necromancer. The same as I am sure there are monstrous ways to be a beekeeper. I ask consent. I learn the names of my Risen. The only sin in this land is to waste. Here in the desert, under the endless sandstorm and burning heat, there is no God of judgment, only gods who believe in our survival. I raise the dead so that the living may continue to do so. I put their masks back on, and send them into the world, building homes for their children, fighting wars for their grandchildren. I wish to be risen when I pass, if only to see my husband again, and make this desert safer for him. That would be nice.
Lorelei Vistas is a companion story to Legends of Lorelei, produced by Livewire Stories. This show is written and produced by Gwen Fullman. The music you heard in this episode was composed by Gwen Fullman and produced by Calamity Alex on YouTube and Spotify. The narrator for this episode was played by Gwen Fullman. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at Livewire Multimedia Stories to receive episodes a week early for only $2 a month. Check out our website at livewiretabletop.wixsite.com/livewire. Subscribe to us on YouTube, or join our Discord in the description below. The best way you can support us is by showing this to a friend. Thank you.